Hello anatomists, and welcome to Anatomy and Physiology Lab. This video is meant to help you go over some of the highlights of the syllabus. Make sure that you still read through the entire syllabus so that you understand all the fine points of all the procedures and policies. The top section of the syllabus includes where and when you meet, your instructor name and email. Make sure that you fill this out as soon as you have that information for your lab time and your instructor. Required items for you to bring to every lab. The most important is going to be this one right here, your lab manual. It will be very important that you have this at the first lab because everything that we go over in lab will be from that lab manual. Everything that we would possibly quiz or test you over comes from the lab manual. So make sure you have it for the first lab. You're not going to find the lab manual at the bookstore. You'll need to go to Frog Prints. And Frog Prints is very close by. It's located on the first floor of the Grand Mark. They're usually open Monday through Friday, I believe 8 to 5. And you can pay in a variety of ways. In addition to your lab manual, you will also want to bring your textbook with you and visible body. And the reason for this is because your lab manual, other than photographs of the specimen and the tissues, it does not have very many pictures in it. And so to help you find the structures on the models or on the specimen that we are dissecting, you're going to want to have your textbook and visible body with you. The textbook is just Anatomy and Physiology by Saladin. 8th edition is what we're using now. And visible body you can purchase at this link. And you have access to many different resources that come along with visible body. But it's basically an app that allows you three-dimensional manipulation of different structures. And then finally, you're going to want to bring paper and pencil for taking notes. Also, the pencil will be required for taking quizzes at the end of each lab. Course description and objectives. We're going through several different systems in anatomy and physiology, and we will ask you to demonstrate your understanding through quizzes and exams. Lab composes 35% of your overall A&P grade. And of that 35%, most of it comes from your 2 lab exams. Some people like to blow off lab a little bit just because you only have lab once a week. But keep in mind that you are in lab as many hours per week as you are in lecture. And we pack it full of stuff. Your exams will be challenging. Each exam will be 12.5% of your grade. So make sure that you dedicate adequate time to studying your lab material. At the end of every lab, you will have a lab quiz. This will be a 5-question short answer quiz, and it will cover the material that we discussed during lab that day. So it will be really important that when you come to lab each week, you come to lab prepared, already having read the exercise, familiarizing yourself with terms, looking over the pictures, and doing as much as you can ahead of time so that during the lab you can get as much out of it as possible and you won't stress about your quiz. The other 65% of your overall grade will come from lecture. Another note about quizzes. So quizzes will be at the end of each lab. There are 5 questions. They're short answer. Spelling does count. You get 2 letters incorrect for free. At the 3rd incorrect letter, you will have half credit taken off, and that's even if you have the correct answer. It is also important that as you are writing down answers, you give specific answers. For example, if you put lung as an answer, if the pointer is on a lung, then that technically is correct, but if the pointer is on the top part of the right lung, a much better answer would be superior lobe of the right lung, and that is how you will get full credit. Don't stress too much. There are only the items listed in the lab manual that will be tested on your quizzes or exams. So if you come to lab having read the lab exercise and having prepared based on that material, you'll be just fine. Lab exams occur twice during the semester, and they are in the same format as your quizzes. They're just a little longer. But they will still be short answer, and spelling still counts. You will still need to give specific answers. Lab exams are also timed, 60 seconds per question. It's important that you come to lab every single week. If you miss for any reason that is not a university absence or a documentable excuse, then you will not be allowed to make up the quiz, and you will have a 0 for that day's quiz. However, if you are involved in a university activity, such as athletics or music, and you must miss lab for one of these reasons, we just need documentation of your absence, and you are permitted to make up that lab. You either can attend another lab that week, or your instructor will make time with you to go over the material and give you an opportunity to make up your quiz. Other legitimate documentable excuses include sickness, family emergencies, and things of that nature. All excuses that request a makeup so that you can make up your quiz and not get a 0 will require documentation. If it is not a university required absence or some major issues such as illness, a major accident, family emergency, then you will not be allowed to make up that lab. Please let us know as soon as you can if you know that you're going to be missing, so that we can make arrangements for you to either attend another lab that week, or your instructor can make time with you to make it up. Make sure that when you come to lab, you have read ahead of time, you bring all of your supplies with you so that you can be successful. If you would like to bring a cell phone or camera so that you can take pictures or video during lab, many students have found this helpful so that you can study at home outside of the lab and review everything that you learned. It will be important that you maintain your knowledge of previous week's lab activities so that you can study well for the lab exam. And pictures and video are a good way to do this. You're welcome to take your own video of yourself or your classmates pointing out structures, but the instructors and the TAs are not available to make videos for you. Make sure that you keep track of everything through TCU Online. All of your quiz grades and exam grades will be uploaded there. There's also a lot of helpful documents, PowerPoint slides that I use, any other helpful resources that may benefit you as you're studying. Everything will go on TCU Online. Any announcements due to any changes in lab or clarification of information that was presented in lab, all of that will go on TCU Online. If you have any kind of accommodations, make sure that your instructor receives your paperwork as soon as possible. If you have any issues with discrimination, please come and talk to your instructor regarding that, and we would be happy to help you, assist you with your statement. Don't bring food or drink into the lab, especially when we are dissecting specimen or if we're doing an experiment where enzymes are out. Closed-toed shoes are always a good idea to bring, just because it can get a little bit messy in the lab. The last page of your syllabus shows the lab schedule, and with the exception of extreme weather that causes the closure of campus, this schedule is pretty much set in stone. And so you can see each week what the topic is, and these topics match the exercises that are in your lab manual. And there's also a list of reading exercises, so you can see which specific exercise is listed, as well as where to look in your textbook when you are preparing for these different exercises. When you're reviewing the textbook, you don't necessarily need to read the entire chapter. What will be most helpful for lab is if you look at the pictures and the figures and familiarize yourself with terms. The lab is much more heavy on being able to identify different structures. And you can also see on the schedule which quiz number that we are on each week. Twice, right before each lab exam, we will hold open labs. So the open labs are times right before each lab exam that you are able to come anytime during that specified time and come and review material for the upcoming exam. Normally, we don't pull a lot of old lab material that we've already covered, but the open lab gives you an opportunity to go and review some of that earlier lab material and refresh your memory in preparation for the upcoming lab exam. And that's about it for the highlights of the syllabus. Again, please make sure that you read through all of this thoroughly, and please feel free to email your instructor with any questions that you have. We're happy to help you during lab. So whether it's a question over the syllabus or a question on what you're looking at in lab, if it's last week's material or next week's material, your instructors really want to help you succeed. So please feel free to reach out to any of us at any time to help you answer your questions and help you do the best you can in this class.